See what happens when a military vet discovers the world of podcasting in an all new. Wait. Hey, sound guy. Did I read this right? They give a military vet his own podcast show? Now, who in the world thought that was. You're still recording, aren't you? Oh, edit that out. See what happens when a military vet discovers the whole new world of podcasting in an all new The Birdman Show. See what happens when a military vet discovers the whole new world edit that out, man. I need this job. All new.
Yo, what is up? That's right. You already know what time it is. It is time for another episode of the Birdman Show. Go ahead and do it with me. That's right. It's your boy. It's the Birdman. I'm here live in effect. And of course, I brought my backup. I brought Big Sam with me. Big Sam. Yo, bro, how are we doing?
Man, I'm doing good. My head's looking a little shiny over here. So
yeah, I noticed that. I really wasn't gonna say anything, but since you brought it up, yeah, you looking a little shiny, my man. You looking a little shiny.
Hey man, I'll talk about it. You a bald man too. You can talk about it. I'll allow
Yeah,
that.
it's all good, man. Hey, the ball people got to stick together. You a cue ball, I'm the 8 ball. It's all good to get. What I'm saying, ebony and ivory. You know what I'm saying? We do our thing, brother. We do our thing. So it's all good. You got to respect the baldness. You got to respect the baldness. So it's all good. But hey, before we get started with this episode, I want to once again take the time to tell everybody that the Birdman Show is powered by Riverside.fm. It's the easiest and only way to do a podcast. Well, maybe not the only way to do a podcast, but the only way I'm going to do a podcast ever. Riverside has amazing editing tools and an unmatched community of experts that will help you take your podcast to the next level. So if you want to know more about how to get started, check out the link in the Tim Birdman Simpson Facebook profile. Come on, take a flight with your boy, the Birdman in Riverside, and I'll see you in the clouds. All right, look at it. We got that out the way. All right, we got to, we got to do the whole thing. And I also I got a special announcement to make a little bit later in the show. I'm really, really excited about. For those who follow the Facebook profile, you might have already seen it, but I want to do an actual live announcement about it. So we'll get into that later in the show. Sam, first of all, man, how you doing today?
Man, I'm good today. I'm good. A little tired, but we good. We getting along. We chugging along.
Yeah, chugging along there. That's good. Okay, so this episode is we're getting into something a little different here. It's something we haven't really. Well, we've kind of touched on it a little bit in our first episode of season 2, which we did with Brian Ace Williams. When we talked about PTSD, anxiety, depression, different things, we kind of touched on this a little bit, and that subject was relationships. How those things, those illnesses can affect relationships. So this episode, why not just go ahead and just dive right in and talk about relationships? Why beat around the bush? You know what I'm saying? Why not just go ahead and get on to the nitty gritty? Okay. So, in your opinion, when it comes to, certain relationships, what do you think is some of the main issues?
I think communication is a big one. I think a lot of people, I think, kind of tend to bring up communication. But I would kind of double onto that and say that understanding is just as important. If you can't, you can communicate whatever you want to your partner, your girlfriend, your wife, whoever. But if they can't really understand what you're getting at, then communication kind of falls out the window. I think for me personally, those are two big ones. Trust, obviously, especially like in a social media world that we have today, trust is a very big thing. Um, I think for me personally, those are kind of be the three biggest things that I would kind of harp on a little bit that I would perceive as um, things that could cause issues in a relationship today.
I yeah, 100% agree with that. Sorry to oh, sorry to jump off camera real quick because I had to get something taken care of. Or before I respond to that real quick, yeah, you gotta love the live show aspect of this thing. Are you able to get on Facebook on your phone?
I can, yeah.
Okay, because I'm gonna send you the invite for the live. I just sent you the invite for the live version of this for Facebook Live. Um, so yeah, we're gonna talk about this. Okay, so for those who are joining us on Facebook Live or will be joining us on Facebook Live, we are in the process of doing a two system thing going on here. We are doing live stream on Riverside .fm, and we're also doing our Facebook Live portion of it as well at the same time. So we're gonna continue talk. I'm gonna continue talking while Sam gets on here and join. But okay, he's on there now. Okay, cool. Did you have another set of headphones?
I'll just turn it down. I can hear what you're saying, so I'll just turn it down and
Okay, that's
have my
fine.
audio for this. So yeah.
Hey, that's cool then. Okay, so we're gonna recap real quick for those who are just now joining us on Facebook Live. But for this episode, like I alluded to, for the ones that are watching on the Riverside, I've got two cameras here, so this is fun. We had kind of touched on today's topic a little bit in
I
our
already know that.
season 2 episode season 2 episode 1 premiere, which was myself, Big Sam, and we're joined by special guest Brian Ace Williams. Big on TikTok. If you get a chance, go follow him. There you go. What's up, Big Dev? What's up, baby? But if you get a chance, go follow him on there. But we touched on we talked about in that episode, talked about depression, we talked about PTSD, anxiety, a wide array of different things that you deal with those type of illnesses. And one of the things we touched on was relationships and how it affects relationships. So this episode we are talking about, and we're getting into the nitty gritty of relationships. And to me, my thing is, and when you talk about relationships, well, I think and Sam, you did hit the nail on the head when we talked about communication being broke down, and a lot of problems with that. That's a huge thing. But the problem is what I think and how I feel. It's not the communication during the relationship that's the huge problem. It's the communication before the relationship actually gets started. That's me. Now, anybody who's at, you have any comments or anything, make sure you please leave a comment in the comment section out here. Please respond. Give me your thoughts as we're going along. So that way we can get some more feedback. I don't want to just be me and Sam bouncing stuff off, because I want to be able to reply to people who are watching us live. But communication, I think, is a huge thing pre-relationship. Okay, so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. I'm gonna give this scenario, Sam, and like I said, for anybody watching, please definitely chime in. Get ready to start dating somebody. Okay, meet them for the first time. Now, in most cases, what is the one of the things that if you're talking to a friend, a family member, whatever, and we're guys, and you're talking to them about a girl, what's one of the things that what's one of the pieces of advice they usually tell you not to share?
Shit, I usually get told to stay single, man. I don't get.
Yes,
I haven't.
I've told you that many times.
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, man. Like, I have had more people tell me, more men especially, tell me just stay single than anything else. Honestly,
Yeah, I mean,
So that's the only answer I can give you, man, because that's the only advice I've been given about it.
Okay, well, yes, and I have been guilty of that, of saying that to you. Now, listen, I'm gonna say this. Austin, what's up? How we doing? What's the biggest lesson you learned from previous relationships that you? Okay, I'm gonna hold on to that, and I'm gonna respond to that. Um, okay, yes, I have told you that. Now, you gotta understand, you gotta understand why I've told you that. Now, before anybody starts saying anything or like, oh my god, he just hates. Now, understand something. Number one, I've been married 4 times. Okay, now that's marriage. I've been in countless relationships. I don't want to get into that discussion. I just that's just not a good discussion. I don't want to get into that. So we're not gonna get into that. But I I look at I'm one of those guys, and I've been told this by, friends, family, especially women I've dated. In most cases, I'm not like a typical one, like a typical guy they've dated. Number one, sex is not a priority to me in a relationship. It's not. If I want sex, if I just wanted sex, that relationship, I just stay single. No attachment. There's none of the other stuff. And I think that's a lot of the problem, especially when we talk about pre-conversations in relationships, where there is a problem. Because most time right when you get in a relationship, what I'm saying, especially if you guys are sexual, um, then you're always having sex. But then when you actually get that relationship and life settles in, and when I say life, work, if you guys are not living in the same house, the maybe you go home or maybe she goes home and you got that time apart, but then now when you move in together, you're underneath each other all the time. So what happens is now you're starting to notice things that they do. They're noticing things that you do. Some of your pet peeves start kicking in. And like we touched on in our first episode when we talked about trauma, the big T's and little T's, big trauma, little trauma. When we talked about that in our first episode, there's things that you may not realize that you're doing. It reminds them of a relationship they were in. And if it starts reminding them of, especially if it was a really bad relationship, it starts to kick up some of those traumas, whether it's a big T, little T. It starts to kick that stuff up. So sometimes without you being aware, you're causing a problem in your relationship, but you're causing the problem because your partner's not communicating with you, which goes back to communication. Um, and like I said, when I tell you, hey, just stay single, don't even just stay single, date who you want to date. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to be in that relationship, you can leave. And the reason why I say that because that part comes from the marriage part. Okay, being married, um, and then you just talking about having kids and everything. For a man, and I'm gonna say this, um, I'm having a problem with this because I'm starting to. I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube, TikTok, and there's this conversation that's coming up about this. And my question, if there's any ladies out there that want to comment to this, please leave a comment. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say that part. I'm gonna say that for after the commercial break when we go to a commercial. Because I want to get to this first. Okay, but anyways, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard for a guy. It honestly is. People talk about women, this and that, but you know what? Half the time for guys, we don't know what we can and can't say. If we do say something, and it sets her off, then you're a jerk. If you don't say something, then sometimes it sets her off, and guess what? You're still a jerk. Sometimes it feels like a lose-lose situation. Like I said, for me, from my standpoint, from being married, it was difficult because the simple fact is, whatever the reason was, whether it was mutual, we're just gonna go ahead and this is not working, can't do it. Neither one of us can do it. Okay. Whether it was, there was infidelities on one of our parts, what I'm saying? Whatever it is, the thing is especially when you start adding kids in, for a guy, you've already lost the battle. You've already lost the battle. You've lost the battle in public perception. You've lost the battle in court, especially when you deal with your kids. before you even step in there. As soon as your name gets put on that paperwork, you already done. You might as well just go in there. You know what I'm saying? Unless you got a good lawyer, you know what I'm saying, or a judge that's reasonable, and they just look at it and say, "Oh, another woman, another man." Okay, they actually look at the case. It is what it is. All right. Okay, I want to touch on this question real quick that Austin Middleton asked. And the question was, for those who are watching on Riverside, question was, what's the biggest lesson you learned from a previous relationship that you learn the most from? Oh, okay. Sam, you want to touch on that? And then I'll let you answer Ace's question.
Hmm.
Go, go ahead.
I think the biggest lesson that I've learned from a previous relationship was probably just to learn to be empathetic and to learn to be understanding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and in my most recent previous relationship, I kind of touched on this a little bit. I think in episode one, for both of us, our mental health was not the best at times, um, and I think we both had a hard time kind of putting us aside to understand the other person a little bit, and being open to how they're feeling and how something makes them feel. And so I think
Yeah.
that's where kind of the empathy comes in a little bit. But then, obviously listening to what they're saying and actually trying to kind of put yourself in their shoes a little bit to understand what they're trying to get across. I can explain something 1,000 different ways, but if you don't understand it, then you know where's the middle ground here? I'm communicating, but you're not understanding. You're not being empathetic to how a situation or a situation made me feel, how maybe something you said made me feel, or whatever the case may be. So I think for me personally, I think that would be kind of my biggest lesson that I've learned.
Okay. I can go along with that. I'm picking up what you're putting down with that. To me, this is I've been called many things. Um, some things I won't repeat on air. Um, but to me, I'm a very rational person. I just am. I'm very rational. I understand, especially with people, and I think a lot of that I contribute that to um, my my career as an athlete, playing multiple sports, most notably basketball, and dealing with different people, coaches, players, whatever, and then of course going into coaching, what I do now. But also, I really attribute it to my time in the military. Um, you always meet people from different backgrounds, and I'm gonna talk strictly from my time in the military right now. There's so many people, different people that you meet from all walks of life. And the one thing the military taught me that it really, really, I think that's the reason why I kind of always lean back on it. And sometimes I hate. It's not that I hate it. I don't like feeling like I'm talking like a broken record. Like I sound like a broken record when it comes to my experiences in the military. But what I've learned through going to behavioral health for the VA and talking with my therapist is that the military really, really, really shaped and molded me in more ways than one. People think about military, think about the physical aspect of it, the mental aspect of it. But when I start thinking about the emotional aspect, and yeah, I repress a lot of things from some of my experiences when I was in the military. But um, as I'm starting to channel that now, starting to open up more and more about talking about things, I'm realizing how much it really shaped me emotionally as well. Um, and I 100% agree with you on the empathy thing. Um, but sometimes where I have to be careful. This is just me talking. I'm not speaking from nobody else. I have to be careful of being too rational because I sit there and I can look at a situation and have completely zero emotions attached to it. I could do something, and if I upset my girl or she gets upset about something, she can just be sitting there talking. I'm listening. I'm not. I'm usually not upset. I don't. I wouldn't get upset. I don't yell. I'm not really much of a yeller when it comes to something like that, especially if I know it's something that's would really made the other person upset. No, that's not. I don't do that. But I sit and I'll listen, and as I'm listening, I'm hearing what they're saying, and I'm trying my best to do is, number 1, pick out my part. And when I say pick out my part, this is where I think some people fall short is pick out pick out the part that you're actually messing up on. Because we've all been in those arguments when, Sam, I know you've been in arguments with your ex-girlfriends or whatever, and girls have been in arguments with their ex-boyfriends, husbands, whatever. We've all been in those type of arguments. And a lot of times what happens is one or both of the people are not taking ownership for the actual problem. They're always saying, "Well, you did this or you did that." And that's a huge problem. And I think that's something that really needs to talk about. So what we're gonna do real quick though, because my boy Ace just sent a request to join in, so I'm on real quick himself. Unfortunately, for those watching Riverside, you will not be able to see this. Ace, baby, how we doing, man? I know, I know. Well, hey, that's the power of the equipment I got here now for this thing and doing this thing off Riverside. It's all running through it, so they actually clean up a lot of it as we're live. So it actually sounds a heck of a lot better than what it did before. So what's going on, man? Tell me what's on your mind. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. That's funny you say that because that goes back to one thing that Sam said with the empathy. Um, and it goes back to what we originally talked first started the conversation on was communicating. And the thing is that, like I said, sometimes one or both of the people are not taking ownership. If I ever do anything wrong in a relationship, um, the one thing most people would say, especially Dad, she would say, if I do something wrong, I'll say, I messed up. I understand where you're coming from. I can see why that is an issue. I don't say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. Because the thing is, when you do that, what you're doing is you're really taking. You're not. Yeah, you're deflecting. You're not saying, what, I did mess up. You know, I can understand why that's an issue. Why, and even after saying that, why you do have a problem with that. You're not saying, I'm sorry you feel that way, but it is what it is, which is one of my favorite sayings. And that's if I start saying that, especially a lot. then I have really, really have checked out. and that goes back right to what you said. If it's a relationship, and that's the thing, that goes back to the whole communication thing. If couples are communicating from the beginning, truly communicating, and when I say truly communicating, because what are some of the problems that come up later in the relationship that could have been something that was taken care of before the relationship started? And the thing is, one of the problems is the simple fact is, okay, if you both have children, okay, okay, this is how I raise my children, da da da. This is how you raise your children. Okay, hey, I believe in swatting that behind. You know what I'm saying? Like one thing my parents used to tell me when I was coming up, and I earned every single whooping I got. I mean, I worked hard for them. I'm telling you, I worked hard for them. All right, but the one thing they used to say, skin grows back, clothes. I'm not buying you new clothes. Skin grows back. You know what I'm saying? Basically, what that breaks down to for all my non-black people who didn't get those type of whoopings, um, that means you going down bare bottom and leather the skin. All right, it is what it is. Some people now that is considered child abuse, and this and that. But you know what? It is what it is. That's a whole different. No, that's a whole different other show. That's a whole different other show. We ain't gonna get in that. Sam, hearing what Brian just said, what are some of your responses to that?
It was kind of like getting caught out a little bit because I think that's what kind of happened for me in my last relationship.
Oh, okay,
You know,
okay,
I
I
think
got
I think no, you're good. But no, it was just like hearing that was it was the first time that I had really kind of heard that,
you.
and so it was just kind of like a little bit eye opening for me because I feel like that's what happened for me. Is I kept getting kind of told like, hey, well, you're doing this and it's upsetting me, and I can think back on it, and I can think back on how many times that conversation happened, and I could just never understand what I was doing, or what she was trying to get at. And I think just hearing that over and over again, like, hey, well, you're doing this and it's upsetting me, and kind of being told that I'm not necessarily that she told me that I was like being a bad boyfriend or whatever, but kind of getting that into my head based on the conversations. It was like, okay, well, I guess now I kind of will check out a little bit. So that, mm, shit, man, I wasn't expecting all this tonight. Damn,
It's the Birdman Show. It's the Birdman
man,
Show. That's what we do. All
man,
right. Forget
man.
Phil Donahue. Forget Oprah. Forget Dr. Phil, Steve Harvey. This is the Birdman Show. Okay. We bring this out. We bring this out. We bring this out. No, yeah, that's true. And I'm gonna stop something before anybody even says something, whether somebody makes a comment or somebody starts thinking it. Sam made a statement there. And one of the things he said was, how she was coming at him, this and that, and then after, I heard this a lot, especially in a previous relationship. And sometimes they were like, somebody would come to me and say, "Well, you know what? If you really, you really got to learn how to talk to him, and be able to come at him calmer, this and that." Number one, I'm not a calm person. If I am calm, you need to run. If I'm yelling, if I'm upset and I'm yelling or I'm talking loud, chances are everything's okay. I just I am when it comes to stuff like that because I don't really express my emotions very well. Um Happy and angry are the two biggest ones I use a lot. So those are the ones I know how to really express. So if I get stressed out, if I feel my PTSD kicking in, the anxiety, depression, whatever, um, I get loud. And so a lot of times it's not the fact that I'm yelling at somebody. It's just I'm talking and I'm getting I don't want to overstimulated. I'll just say that I just get overstimulated with everything that's going on. And so the only thing I know how to do is in order to convey how I feel is raise my voice. That's what I did in the military. I was training soldiers. I was helping train soldiers. We were going into war. We didn't have nice conversations. We didn't sit there and say, "Now look, man. Okay, I know you just went in there and tried to kick that door in. All right, and you kind of did this little stumble. Now we talked about this last time, so I'm gonna need you to kind of go back and do it again." No, it was like, "Yo, what is you doing, you idiot?" We just you just go at it because you don't have time to be trying to check somebody's feelings. You don't, and I think that's where a lot of sometimes we get into problems because we don't learn how to we don't remember how to check with somebody's feelings and everything. Go ahead, Ace. Uh-huh. Yeah, I might as well go ahead and take my hat off. I was gonna leave it on because I got my We the People hat on. You know what I'm saying? So, I'll just go ahead and take it off for this episode. Oh, Brian cut out there on us. You still there, Sam? Oh, okay. We still there? Okay. I something happened, cut out a little bit there. I didn't catch that last part of what you were saying, Ace. Mhm. 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 You don't say, sir. Huh. Okay. Okay, so let me ask you this question then. I'm gonna ask both of you this question. Um, then is it safe okay. Is it safe to say that not only past relationships affect you moving forward, let's say current relationships or whatnot, um, but is it also fair to say that relationships as far as family goes can also affect how your relationship is?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
without
that's
question, man. I mean, that's where it all starts. Everything starts in the home.
mhm.
You know, like I had to deal with a lot of shit with my mom's mental health growing up, and then like my dad's health got really bad,
Mhm.
and like, you know, it's a. I could go into a whole lot of detail. We could say that for another time though. But like everything starts in the home, man. You know, so that's just
What you got, Ace? Right. Mhm. Yes. Yeah. Mhm. Yes. Yes. Mhm. 100%. Yes. Now, I'll jump on when okay. And the thing is you have to look at what the motivation is. Because sometimes you have family, they're like, "Oh, I don't really care for him or I don't really care for her." Because, I think that you know, it's this or that. Well, the thing is sometimes it's just because well they maybe had a different vision of who they wanted you with. You know what I'm saying? Or they may have had a vision. I'm trying not to jump ahead. I'm really trying not to jump ahead, but of the type of person you should be with, whether that's color, whether that's uh financial background, whatever, they might have a different view of what you should, be with. Now, the reason why I asked that question was because the simple fact is I do agree with Sam that it begins at home on this point. What's the first relationship as a kid growing up you see? You see your relationship with your parents. All right. Now for those who, unfortunate not to grow up without, without a mother or, or with one parent, whether it is or, an certain circumstances where, I really don't wish it upon anybody. They grow up without either one of their parents. It's tough. It's tough for a single mother. Because you got these single women out here trying to raise a man, but the problem is they don't really know what a real man is. A lot of problems with this, and it depends. I'm not saying now. Ooh, let me back up. Not all women are like that. Not all women like that. Okay. I'm just saying with some of the ones that we're having, like some guys are having problems, especially the being in relationships, this and that, or these so-called mama boys, or this and that. There's a lot of women that can they've raised their sons to be men. Um, and it's evident. You can see the ones that raise their sons to stay their little boys forever, because that's how they carry themselves in life, and that's especially how they carry themselves in relationships. But I do agree with that on that point, when you said that, Sam, and I also agree with you on your point when you said, Brian, after you leave the house, because during that time of viewing and seeing different relationships that you've been around, now you've already started formulating relationships as you're growing up. And sometimes what you do is you take the relationships that you've seen, whether it's in the home or it's out somewhere else, and you start building your how you perceive relationships, how a relationship should be. Um, that's why you look at a lot of these women out here, and I'm not picking on you women, okay? Don't do that. I'm not. I'm a guy, so I'm looking at it from a guy's standpoint. I can definitely look at it from a female standpoint, because number one, I listen. Um, but from a guy standpoint, sometimes you get these women out here that are having all these expectations, um, and a lot of them are unrealistic expectations. because they say they want a traditional man, somebody that's going to take care of them, provide for them, and do all the things like they used to do back in the day. Difference is back in the day, you didn't have a lot of say that you said that you have today. Men were not putting up with the attitudes, and men were not putting up with the confrontation. What you got, Ace? Yeah, and then here's the thing: when we talk about that, there are two sides of that. Yes, a lot of them were ruining their women. They didn't give them any say. This is that. A lot of them were being the head of the house, and what that meant was, hey, look, I'm gonna do whatever's best for the family. I'm gonna do what's best for you, what's best for me, what's best for our children. I'm always gonna do the best. I'm gonna lead how it needs to be. How I need to lead. You know what I'm saying? I'm never gonna put you in a situation where you feel like, you know what I'm saying, you're worth less than what you are. But if I'm gonna be the head of the house, I need to lead the head of the house. I have a problem sometimes when people talk about relationships being 50-50. They're never 50-50. Um, because number one, it shouldn't be 50-50. Let me put it that way. It shouldn't be 50-50. It should be 100-100. We talked about this a little bit, and that's what kind of sparked us off on that first episode we did season 2. Um, every relationship should be 100-100. Everybody should be given 100. You know, we say, oh, relationship should be 50-50. Well, what happens if he loses his job? What happens if she loses her job? You know, what happens if she gets pregnant and she can't go back to work or is not going to be able to work for a while? You know, is she still? Yes, that's what I'm saying. You know, then they're like, oh, well, he's the man. You know, especially if they're talking about the woman, he's the man. Then he should be taking care of that stuff anyways. You know, she shouldn't have to work. Okay, yeah, since you're not working, that means I need to give you an allowance. I need to let you know what you can and can't buy because I'm having to take care of the house, the car payments, the kids. You know what I'm saying, groceries, because you ain't bringing nothing in, so I'm gonna have to give you an allowance now. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta figure out what. Oh, you say that to a woman? What are you talking about? Give me an allowance. I need this for this and that. No, those are wants. What do you actually need? Okay, you need clothes, need food, need to make sure you have everything that you need to provide for our children if you're gonna be staying home. You know what I'm saying? Dude, those are things you need. Now anything else, you know what I'm saying? We can work on. You can't say stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, people, you know, especially in cancel culture now, you can't say nothing like that because now you're just being, you know, you're just one of those male chauvinist pigs. It's nah, player. I believe in being real. If you want to be in a relationship and you want to split the bills, okay, cool. I have no problem with that because to me, I don't know about y'all, but to me, if I'm in a relationship, when I'm in a relationship, you know what I'm saying, like you know, Des and I, we split the bills, whatever bills we can split. You know what I'm saying? That means she's not giving all of her money. All of her money's not going to everything. All my money's not going to everything. You know what I'm saying? We're splitting it at so that way she has a little extra to do what she wants to do. I have a little extra to do what I want to do. There's no on this, hey, you think I can get an extra, you know, I know you give me $300 a week or however much it is. I don't know what it'd be. I know you give me X amount of money. Can you give me a little extra because there's none of that. If I want to go do something, if I want to go get something, I'm not sitting up there saying, "Hey, you think I can go ahead and use a little bit of my money, to go buy a fishing pole?" You know, you just say, yeah, come to me talking about, "Hey, you think I can get a little extra money to go get my nails done? If you want to get your nails done, if you got the money, go do it. Don't ask me. If you got the money, go ahead. Now, if I decide I'm gonna treat you, that's different. If I'm gonna treat you, that's different. You want to treat me, cool. I ain't got no problems with it. What you got on that, Sam?
Man, we're talking about expectations. You kind of went off the rails a little bit, dog, and I was listening, but I was like, man, what is the source material here?
Yeah, you
I
checked
checked
out.
out.
I see why
I checked
your
out.
last relationship didn't work.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Hey man, I was listening, all right, but I was just like, what's the source material for this? I was listening though. You're talking about like expectations, yeah.
Sure.
I mean, shit, that's kind of what I was getting from it. That's kind of what I was getting from it, right?
And that's what it's all about.
Like,
Take what grab, just take what jumps out at you, baby. I mean, go ahead, roll with it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Expectations these days are, especially I think, at least from women, from what I've seen, and it's kind of been kind of like what you said earlier, like how you've been watching like TikToks and everything. Is I see a lot of it in terms of women just having very unrealistic expectations for men these days. Um, I think I saw it was a very absurd TikTok the other day where it was like somebody was interviewing this girl on the sidewalk or whatever, and she had said that like have to make $500,000 if she's going to be with him, and he's going to have to spend like $500,000 on a wedding ring. Those are unrealistic expectations for 98% of men on this planet.
Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of it is kind of like a financial thing. I think a lot of women just expect men to be the breadwinners type thing, kind of like it was back in the day where a man could go out and work and provide for a family and his wife and everything. But, they're very unrealistic. And then you've got like, kind of like we talked about it a little bit the other day, where the guy like took his girlfriend or whoever it was to the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh yeah. It was a date that they weren't like together. It was their first date. Man. Yeah. That was what she got upset about.
Like, man, I'm taking you out on a first date. It's not going to be anything super extravagant. Sure, we can go to a nice little spot or whatever, but like, I'm not going to take you to a Gordon Ramsay restaurant on my first date. Like, it's just shit like that. And then I mean, you kind of think about it a little bit too, for men and their expectations. And, for me, it's like my expectations, I don't really expect too much. Can I talk to you? Can I feel safe and comfortable with you? Like those are my expectations. And I feel like those are a lot of men's expectations more than anything. When it comes to relationships, obviously there are a lot of men that are just gonna say like, "Oh, I just want sex or whatever," but like, I don't know, man. I just want to feel safe and shit. I just want to have a good emotional connection with somebody. Those are my expectations, personally. I can't speak on too many other men and what their expectations are for women. I can kind of give a little bit of insight on the women because I feel like I typically see a lot of things on social media where women are like, well, men have to do this and men have to do that, So I feel like I kind of have a little bit that I can say on that, but it's I don't know, man. Expectations these days are very weird and typically very outrageous, I think.
Okay. Ace, what you got? You got anything to touch on that? Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. 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 Mhm. Yeah. Now, I would say this to preference that video. Um, to preference that video that they're referring to. Um, what it was he actually was going to take her to this really nice restaurant. I mean, it's a really pretty nice restaurant. But what happened was she took well over an hour to get ready. And so by the time she even came downstairs, she didn't invite him upstairs. And there's nothing wrong with that because that's the first time they're meeting. There's the first time they're going out. I'm not saying invite somebody in your home right off the bat. No, I mean you still gotta be smart, saying, do your due diligence. But she took over an hour. So by the time she even got downstairs, it was a time that they were supposed to be there for the reservation. So he canceled the reservation. And so his backup was Cheesecake Factory. Now, to give a little bit more background on that, it's just not it wasn't just a Cheesecake Factory to him. Because I saw the interview he did with someone, and her about it, and he said, like, Cheesecake Factory is not just a Cheesecake Factory to me. I go there a lot with my family, my parents and I, my brothers and sisters, we go there a lot. He's like, I've spent many a birthdays there. It's actually it's a kind of a special, place for me, and it's something that, I enjoy. And so that's out of all of that was said during that interview. If you ever get a chance, check it out. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. I think it was with that dude Kevin somebody. I can't remember his name, but if I find it, I'll attach the link, and share it on the page. But anyways, what struck me about that when he said that, to me, when he said that, that to me meant more, than just taking her to some restaurant, because he was taking her to some place that he had happy memories from going. Someplace where he felt, I mean, yeah, comfortable, but it was someplace where he had a lot of memories, and it was probably one of those places where, I've done that before. I've taken a date someplace, where I've spent a lot of time, at and have a lot of fond memories. And what happens is I end up sharing with that person. The conversation tends to be a little bit different because, you're bringing up fond memories, and you're like, "Oh, I remember, we came here one time and this and that. Hey, tell me a little bit more about you." The conversation takes a different, turn. Because I'm gonna say right now, I've been on them I've been on them dates. Oh, go ahead. I said I've been on them dates where I spent a pretty good little penny. I didn't feel like talking. Cause I already knew what that bill was gonna look like. I'm like, yo, if you say one wrong thing, boy, I'm telling you, boy, I might end up on the 6 o'clock news. I just might. Somebody gonna have to come bail me out. Somebody call somebody because I'm gonna need help. I'm like, hey, you better call Tyrone. But I'm just saying, um,
Mm.
yeah, right. Yes, 100. 100. 100. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take oh yeah. Oh yeah. You're right. You're right.
I mean, I've gone on like a few dates, but not really like dated, I guess. No. Mm. What? No, yeah. I mean, like, no, like, I mean, I've dated a little bit, but it's something I don't know. After my last relationship, I kind of keep to myself more than anything. So when it happens, it happens. You know, I'll report back for you guys. But yeah, for the most part, nah, man. I really haven't gone on too many. So
Hey, don't rush it. There's no rush. It really isn't. If you find somebody, you find
hey,
somebody. It is what it
I'm
is.
chilling.
Hey, do what you do.
I'm chilling.
Okay, so we are gonna take a quick break. You gonna stick around for a little bit, Brian, or you hopping off? Yeah, because it's about 7 o'clock. Yeah, yeah, because you're going live on TikTok. Oh, okay. So real quick before you get off, Brian, why don't you go ahead and tell the people who are watching right now if they want to come check you out on TikTok, where can they do that at, or how can they find you? I should say TikTok, of course. Yeah, I've been in there a couple times and
Oh
I've
yeah.
watched it. Yeah.
Hey, yeah. Hey, me and Hep can get this one. We'll take the cake on that one.
You gotta get on TikTok first.
Man, I could just ride your hey, I could just ride your coattails on this one.
No, fam, you ain't getting on
I
my
ain't
you
got
ain't getting on
no
my backup
TikTok,
account
man.
either. Account either.
Hey, dog, I could just text to you while you on the live, man. Hey, man. Hey, damn.
Man, because you got to say to me, you gonna put your head on my shoulder. Put your head on my shoulder.
I'll, I'll sit across the room, dog. Oh, hell no.
Uh,
Yeah, no. I can't be
okay.
in a tight space with him like that. Hell
All
no.
right. Yeah, no problem, man. Oh, yeah, it was one of those ones I really like doing because I'm always been fascinated by that, and then come to find out Sam's is the same way. It just kind of it just. But so we plan on doing some more on that. I've got a list of different ones we're gonna talk about. We'll probably sit down after the show sometime, figure out what we're gonna do for the next episode and this and that. But yeah, I'll put the information out on who we're gonna be doing it on. So if it's one of those ones you think you got something you gotta say about it, come on in. Come on in. Water. Come on in, buddy. The water's warm. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take a quick commercial. Watching on Facebook Live, and for those who are watching on Riverside, for Facebook Live, you're not going to be able to hear the actual commercial we're doing because it's running off of Riverside. At least I don't think so. So this is a new setup I'm doing, so I don't honestly know what it's going to do. But for Riverside, you'll hear the commercials coming on. That's going to be sponsored by uh Spotify for podcasters. So we'll be right back with more The Birdman Show.
by Riverside.
All right, welcome back. We're back with more The Birdman Show. I am your host, The Birdman. I'm still kicking it with my boy Big Sam. How we doing, baby?
Man, I'm good. I'm good.
That's good. That's good. So we talked about quite a bit, in the last segment. So I want to kind of continue that conversation because we talked, and I think you were the one that touched on that when we talked about you said something about expectations, and
Mhm.
and here's what you have to be careful about when you talk about stuff from social TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, whatever it is now. I don't know if it's the X-Men running. I think Professor Xavier's running now. I don't know. Whatever it is, social media gotta be careful of because people are on there because they, and you got the ball. I'm black dude, so I'd be one of. I don't even know. I'd be Bishop, I guess, or whatever. Anyways, um, but you kind of touched that on. You have to be careful. They're just doing stupid stuff just so they can get followers and views and all that stuff and blow up on social media. But that is a very real thing, the expectation part. I think it's kind of it can be kind of like that on the men's side. And I'm gonna probably end up I'm gonna check with her quick. Hey Des, if you're in the comments, leave a comment. If you want to come, if you're gonna be able to come on. But anyways, because I'm gonna bring her on because she made a comment because it was said or was said. Let me go down there. Men also have high expectations of women as well. Of course, I've definitely I've got to say about that. I mean, I agree to a certain extent. I think the expectations for women to men are much higher than they are from men to women. Um, I think okay, that's fine. Just keep commenting then. I think it's higher. And the reason why I say that, and Sam, and those who are on Facebook Live, please definitely chime in. Um, I think it's higher because of how we're raised. If you think about it, as a little girl, most time in most cases, and there's a lot of boys out there. But anyways, in most cases, what were they raised? Oh, to play dress up, play princess. Play this role to where you got some man coming to rescue you, to where you got some man coming to take care of you. And vice versa on the men's side, you're playing that role of, oh, I gotta go save the damsel in distress. Look at the cartoons, look at the movies, especially if it's set up as always coming to rescue some girl. Yeah. Early on, I think it's embedded in the back of our that's how it's supposed to be. And then also when you go back in the day, that's how it was. And you said that I think as well that men are brought up to be the breadwinners, of the providers, for the family, and this and that, which I agree with. Because at the same time, you gotta look back in the day. What were the type of jobs? They were hard labor jobs. You know what I'm saying? And of course, the men were working. They were working in the mines. They were working in the fields. They were working, doing all the heavy lifting jobs and this and that. Yeah, of course. But I'm like I said earlier, I'm very realistic. I'm very rational, and I understand times have changed. And I think the problem is that in some aspects of life, Some of us have changed with the times. Some of us are holding on to the past desperately when it comes to the relationship aspect of it and the expectations of it. Um, and I, I don't, I don't think, I don't think we're viewing it um realistic. I do believe a lot of women, once again, not all women, please don't be blowing up my comment section or leaving me hate mail in my inbox. I believe a lot of women are highly um out of their mind with some of these expectations. You had mentioned that one video, and I think I think I seen that one too. Oh yeah, he's got to be making $500,000 a year, this and that. Now, my question is this, and I've been asking this question for a long time, and now I'm seeing this question being asked a lot when I see these videos. My question is, and always has been, always will be, okay, what are you bringing to the table? And let me know in the comments if you've heard this, whether it's from a man's point or from a woman's point, because I've heard women say this. Well, what are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing, you know, this and that what are you doing? First of all, my only job is to make sure that you're taken care of, to provide for you. Now, whether that's financially, whether that's spiritually, whether that's emotionally, whether that's physically, whatever it is, I'm supposed to be providing that. Here's a problem though. In most cases, especially when you talk about stuff like this, if you were really to ask a woman what they're bringing to the table, a lot of these women that are in these, I'm just going to right now strictly sticking with the videos and everything that we've seen. A lot of these women don't even know what the table is. So they don't even have any idea what to bring to the table or how to bring something to the table because they don't know what the table is. Men are the same way sometimes because some of these men have been so brainwashed from whether it's their, and I hate saying it, because you got some that, they were raised by their mothers. So their mothers raised them with the mindset of, and heaven forbid, if the father passed away, before the child was, got a chance to know him, but in most cases, what it is the mother and the father had an issue, the father left. And so now women are raising their children out of a place of hate and not love. And so therefore, if the son does something, I've seen this. If the son does something, what does the mother say? Ah, man, I've seen men do that same thing, even with the sons, what I'm saying, but more so even with the daughters. Oh man, you just like your mom. Oh, you just like your father. What is that? The message of what that's sending is, I don't know. It's frustrating. It's infuriating at times. Carrie said a woman's protect her man's heart. I agree. Because of one thing we said earlier was the fact that we're bred to supposedly provide. You know what I'm saying? To be the protector of the house. And if we're the protector of the house and the protector of you, who's protecting us? So I do agree with that. A woman is, one of her many jobs is to protect her man's heart. One of man's many jobs is also to protect her heart as well. Not only just her and the kids, this and that. Now, Sam, I know you've never been married. And I know you said we talk, you and I, we talk offline all the time. In some of the relationships you've been in, when expectations, in your perspective, especially being a single man, what are you, not what you're reading, not what you're seeing on social media or the internet, this and that, what are you in your own personal life seeing as, and what to you is reasonable, what to you are reasonable expectations from a man or from a woman?
Well, real quick, I did just want to say, we keep talking about kind of like these things that we're seeing on social media and kind of labeling, obviously, but maybe a majority of them. And I mean, typically, like those videos, it's like one woman giving her opinion.
Yeah.
So
Like I said.
it's a very it's kind of like a poor representation. You have one saying, "Oh, well, he needs to learn, do this and this and this," And it's definitely not all women are like that, you know. But you know, I think a lot more people, a vast majority of the people have expectations than some of the things we've been kind of talking about a little bit. Um, so I did just want to get that point out there real quick because I do think, you know, it's just something that's like kind of amplified, I think, by like social media and stuff. But I do think people do have realistic when it comes to things. You know, I'm not having a woman walk up to me and tell me like, oh, I need you to buy me a $1 million wedding ring. You know, I ain't got $1 million. That's an unrealistic ass expectation. And you know, I ain't never gonna have a woman come up and say something like that. You know, type shit.
No, I'm just saying. If I had $1 million, I guarantee you, I probably wouldn't even be talking to you.
Man.
Because okay, listen, and so I'm saying, and this is what gets me because I've had this conversation over the years. You know, before I got in the military, especially when I was in the military, because I'm gonna tell you right now, some of them females, man, will just have you scratching your head. You know what I'm saying? You be like in that Usher song, well, I think it was Caught Up, talking about she had me outside in the daylight looking for it with a like they will have you so like so so confused is you know some things. But I've had this conversation, and when it comes to that, and as we're going along with this, there's back to what you said about the video you saw where the woman was saying that her man needs to make $500,000 just to even talk to her per year. Okay, now understand something. The higher the money, the more money you have, the more access you have. Okay, now for women, please, this is going to sound very harsh, but I need you to ride with your boy. Just keep riding with your boy. Okay, you got to understand something. You know what I'm saying? If this does, first of all, if this doesn't apply to you, keep it moving. If it applies to you, reevaluate yourself. You got to understand something. The more money that a man has, okay, the more access he has. If we're talking relationships, to other women. Okay, so you take somebody like I don't know. You take somebody that looks like Harry Potter. Okay, dude plays Harry Potter. Whatever. What's his name? Tom. No. What's his name? Okay, there you go. Now his character. You look at his character, right? And you're like, man, that dude ain't pulling no girls, man. He ain't getting no peaches. You know what I'm saying? He ain't getting peaches. He ain't getting none of that. Okay, I'm sorry, we laughed a little hard at that. The reason why, because we had watched this series on Netflix called Blue Eyed Samurai. It's honestly a visible masterpiece. It was a great series.
It was a wonderful show.
But there's a part on there where this dude, you know, he goes into a little brothel or whatever, and it's funny. Well, Peaches, he's like, okay. Anyways, go see it if you want to watch it. It's great. But the thing is, you look at somebody like that, right? If that okay, and you can attest to this, Sam. You've seen people like that with that type of physique, physique and everything in real life. Okay, maybe not confident, not really going out talking to women, this and that. That same dude, $1 million, $10 million, $100 million. If he's paying working a job that's paying him some serious cash, he pulling any woman he wants. Why? Because he can provide like that. So you gotta understand something. When you look at like say the $500,000 or more, even if you talk about $250,000 or more, as far as take home, that's like what between 3. It's like between 1% and 3%, right? That's 1%. That's the 1%. You know what I'm saying? That's 1%. Okay, so 1%ers. If you got 1% of men, you know what I'm saying, and then you got the rest of the 90%, 100% of the women. He has more options than women do. So you're talking about if there's 10 women, one man who fits all the criteria of what you're looking for and expectations, everything you're doing, you have 1 in 10 chances of actually landing that dude. So therefore, you've skipped over, good guys. This is that. Because ask yourself this question, Sam. How many times have you heard of a woman so-called dating down? And when I say dating down, maybe she's a gorgeous woman or whatever, but she's dating a dude that works at, I don't know, Burger King, McDonald's, something like that. By the way, Burger King, McDonald's, if you want to sponsor the show, please contact me at the Birdman. No, I'm playing. Anyways, I'm trying to get some nuggies. But how many times have you ever heard that?
I mean, it happens, but it's not.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm saying how many times. Yeah, it's not very common.
I mean, in terms of it being like a very attractive woman dating down, and vice versa, where it's flipped a little bit, where like somebody that's a man who is probably very well off, dating somebody that's not like in his like financial tier, maybe, it's a lot more common. Or I guess the man kind of dating down is a lot more common than the woman dating down, I think.
Okay, now I'm really not trying to spark anything off. It did. It made sense. You went right along. No, you went right along with exactly where I was going with it. There's more men. They don't care. Like I don't care. I don't care what what my woman is making. I don't care. I don't care if she's making more than me. I don't care if she makes less than me. I don't care. Okay, I don't care where she works at. Care if she works at McDonald's. Don't care. Dad's worked at McDonald's. I don't care if you work at McDonald's. I don't care if you work. You know what I'm saying? If you delivering Meals on Wheels, I don't care. Men don't care. The only thing that we really care about, and this is where I say the expectations are different, so vastly different. Only thing we care about is number one thing is peace of mind. Okay. Number two, you know what I'm saying? And actually, you can flip flop one or two. This is my list. It may not be the same for everybody, but for my list, number two, respect. Okay. As long as you show me respect, I'm gonna show you respect. One thing my grandma used to tell me, and I've heard this many, many times since then, but one thing and my grandma used to tell me a lot of things, and I find myself reflecting back on a lot of those things and really starting to put those things in practice in my life now was, baby, once respect is no longer being served, it's time to dab your mouth, put your napkin on the table, and remove yourself from the table. If you don't feel like you're getting respected in any aspect of the relationship, it's not a relationship you need to be in. Okay, because once somebody gets comfortable with disrespecting you, the levels climb. Okay, and then now you're having to sit there and try to justify why you're still in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? To anybody else, like, man, why you letting him talk to you like that? Why you letting her talk to you like that? Why you letting him treat you like that? Why you letting her treat you like that? You know what I'm saying? You've given somebody that you open the doorway for that level of disrespect. But at the same time, you gotta be careful with it, because some people feel like she disrespected me, or he disrespected me, like how they disrespect you. Well, they didn't want me to go to the bar, and I'll say once again, not picking on ladies, but I'm a guy, so I gotta talk from a guy standpoint. Well, he didn't want to let me go to the bar with my homegirls, because he said he didn't trust them. But how many times is that on the other foot? How many times your lady don't want you going out with your guy friends because she may necessarily not trust them? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they say, "Yo, you're cool. You can go ahead and go out," but then they got attitude with you for the rest of the night, or they're texting you throughout the night because they want to try to keep your focus on them, and not necessarily they don't want you to have a good time, but they don't want you to have so much of a good time that you forget to at least check in every once in a while. Like, hey, I'm still here. Yeah, I know you're still there. I'm coming back. Golly, can the brother just relax? So, what do you think about some of that, man?
No, man, I agree for sure. Um, Shit, dog. I am checking out, dog. I am so sorry. Oh my goodness. Uh, Present me with like a legitimate question right now, dog. That's what I need. I need you to like put that in a better question form than what you think about that. I'm
Okay.
so sorry.
It's no. Look, bro. It happens. Okay. I've been there. I've done that. Don't even trip, man. You gotta remember, you're new to this. Okay. So that's gonna come. That's gonna come. Trust me. It will. It will. You're gonna be great. You're doing great. Don't worry about it. So let me ask you this. Okay. I don't want to phrase. Okay. So do you think that okay, what is the biggest reason why you think most relationships fail outside of communication?
Trust.
Okay.
Absolutely. It would have to be trust. You know, with social media these days, like, it's very easy to just assume that, oh, well, he didn't text you back, so he's cheating, or she didn't text you back, she's cheating. And just kind of, I mean, that's a very basic like example, um, but it has to be trust, man, because with the way that everything is these days, dog, with relationships and social media, I think out of a majority of the women I know, they have trust issues more than, like any other type of issue that they have with past relationships or looking for another relationship or whatever. It's trust issues, you know. And I think
Mm.
social media has just played a very, very big part in that.
Now, look, before we go bashing social media, we gotta remember we are on social media, so don't bash it completely now.
Hey man,
I'm saying.
social media is the devil.
Except for when you watch our show. Anyways,
Shout out, mama.
but I agree with you. Now, the reason why I say, I would agree with you on that with the trust part, it's tough. When trust is lost, it's hard. It's hard to get back. It's not impossible. It's hard. And if you're willing to put the work in, it's more than possible. And sometimes it comes back a lot quicker because the other person realizes, okay, yeah, they realize that what they did was wrong, and they're making the effort, and they're doing the best they can. I can see it on their part. Now I got to make sure I'm doing my part to allow them to continue doing the things necessary to help this relationship grow. But I'm gonna take a step back with the trust thing. A lot of the reason why men and women have a hard time trusting each other is because they didn't do what we first talked about in the beginning. There was no real communication. You didn't really take the time to get to know that person, or you never took the time to listen to the other person while they're talking. So I guarantee you, most people that know me, um, know this. When they first met me, I don't talk a lot. I don't. I sit back and I watch and I listen. I'll chime in every once in a while in conversation, but I won't talk a lot because I'm listening. I'm listening to pick up on little certain things they say. I'm saying right now, being a black man, uh, in America, you learn a lot about people. I guarantee you in a 5-minute conversation, I can tell you somebody is racist because of how they address me. You know what I'm saying? Not when I say now how they address me, like, "Hey, boy," or, something like that. Sometimes it's just little subtleties. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you can pick up on the fact that, and that's why a lot of my female friends, especially when I was in New York, when I was in the military, and, a lot of my guy friends, man, my homeboys, they would take me with them on dates, like, we'd double date or something, and they would take me because they know I'm paying attention to that person. And most times they were like, "Hey, what you think about old girl? Hey, what do you think about old boy?" I'm like, "Ah, she seems pretty cool. He seems pretty cool. That dude's a narcissist. That chick is psycho as hell. You need to run. Get out." You know what I'm saying? Run for the hills. Because they're so focused on the fact that, oh my God, he has the most beautiful brown eyes or green eyes, and like, oh my God, man, you see that donkey on that girl, man? Oh my, yo, and you ain't paying attention to nothing. Like you're not paying attention to any of the signs. You're not listening to nothing. You ain't a donkey, the badunkadonk, the caboose. I see you look like you confused. I did say donkey.
No, I know what you were talking about, but donkey? Dang, man.
But you know what I'm
dog.
saying. You don't pay attention. You honestly don't. And that's why when you preface that talking about that the video on well actually I guess I started talking about it. But that video about the Cheesecake Factory and this and that. That's why first date, man. There's like you said before, first date. There's not really a lot of expectations. The only thing you're trying to figure out is, can I really hold a conversation with this person? Is this somebody I really want to be able to talk to? Is this somebody I can really kick it with? You're not. To me, I don't understand. Like some of these people. Okay, I'll ask you this question, Sam. And for the women that are out here still watching this, please chime in on this in the comments. I'm gonna ask you this question, and I'm loving this. I might do a poll on this later, but we might do a poll right now. Sam, who do you think lies more, men or women?
You try to get me canceled, man. Try to get me canceled.
It's an honest question. It's an honest question. Who do you think? Who do you think lies more, men or women? At this point in time, there's no right or wrong answer. At this point in time, there's no right or wrong answer. But I'm gonna give you some things.
Probably men.
You think men lie more than women?
I think so.
Okay. Like I said, for those who are watching live on Facebook Live, please share in the comment what you think. Same question goes out to you. Who do you think lies more, men or women? Okay, Ace just said women. Desiree said depends. Okay, Ace started throwing
depends if you watching, sponsor the show.
Wait, now what Ace is doing right now in the comments, I want you to start thinking about it like this now. Women honestly lie more than men do. Men lie about more dumb stuff than women do. Women lie every single day from most time, and I'm gonna say not all of them, but most of them from the time they get up to the time they go to bed. Fake nails, wigs, fake eyelashes, push-up bras, padded underwear so it makes their butt stands up. They lie about their age. A said. They lie about weight.
Right there.
Yeah, they lie about weight. They lie about all the things that should make them more presentable to men. Men don't care. We don't care nothing about that. We honestly don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be honest with you. As a man, it's nice. Nice look at all them girls there. There's nowhere in the world I would ever want to date one. No. Why? I'm not trying to sit there and be having to like look over my shoulder every 5 seconds because somebody, as we go out to eat and somebody's like, oh man, I saw her on Instagram. Oh man, I saw her on OnlyFans. Oh man, I saw her on this website, this, that. Dude, some dudes say, oh yeah, I'm cool with that, man. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm saying everybody want my girl. Well, chances are most of them had your girl. I'm just saying it's nothing. And what does it say? Not this girl can't afford it. Yeah, I feel you on that. Some of what then A said, some of what the stuff is to make them feel better about themselves. I 100% agree. I do 100% agree. But here's the thing: most of those women that like what you just said, Ace, they're doing it to make them feel better about themselves. Ain't lying about it. They say, "Hey, I'm oh, these nails ain't real," or yeah, I got these fake. They will tell you. Now that whole age and weight thing, man, maybe not. But when it comes to like going to the beauty shops, spas and stuff like that, yeah, And I have no problem with that. Shoot, when I was in New York, especially when I was in the military, I used to go get my feet done all the time, player. I ain't gonna lie. I would go get them, and why? Because it was my first sergeant told me. He's the one that actually recommended it because I was infantry. So we did a lot of road marches. We had them rucks on our back. We had carrying up anywhere from 50 to 120 pounds on our back. We doing 26 miles road marches and stuff. And he's telling me all the time. He's like, "Yo, man, you gotta take care of your feet." He said, he gave me a card. He said, "You go down and see these fools over here, on 53rd Street. You tell them I sent you, they're gonna take care of you, man." And I'm telling you, man, they took care of my feet. Because if not, man, my career would have been a lot shorter than what it was. I was able to serve 10 years. I was wanting to do 20, 25 at least 20, maybe upwards about 25, but I got cut short because I got hurt. But dude, I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying and when I asked that question, Sam, I wasn't saying there wasn't anything wrong with it. That's why I'm saying there's really technically no right or wrong answer. But the thing is, if you ask this question, most of all women, I'm not, but most of them are going to say men lie more than women. Now, the ones that are realistic, and I seen Dez's response. She said women, or no, she said it depends. Ace said women. Okay. I don't think yeah, of course, I didn't see a single female that said women. It's men. Anyways, but like I said, Dez just say depends. And the reason why is because they always think that we're lying. I'm gonna ask you this question, Sam. How many times, okay, think about a relationship you've been in. How many times is a girl called you up, asked you what you're doing, and usually what's your response?
I mean, shit, usually just chilling.
Just chilling or doing nothing. That's usually the response.
Yeah, not really.
I've been in a relationship where that was my response before, and that used to always be my response because majority of the time I'm not doing anything. You know what I'm saying? I don't really go out. I really don't go out to to clubs or anything. Like I go out every once in a while, but I really don't go out. I'm a homebody. I like being at home. You know what I'm saying? Whether I'm watching movies, watching the game on the Xbox. And I find myself on the Xbox a lot because my son is on there, and so we play NBA 2K a lot or Madden, or stuff like that. So I'm cool with being at the crib. You know what I'm saying? Less drama. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to worry about dropping somebody if they get crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have to worry about it if something pops off. I don't have to worry about somebody taking shots at me or anything like that or getting caught in crossfire. I like being at home. I have no problem with it. But in some cases, what happens is you tell them, "Oh, I'm not doing nothing." Oh, so who you not doing nothing with? Like I've actually gotten that response before. Like, who you not doing nothing with?
I ain't doing nothing with Kamala and her 5 sisters. That's what I'm doing. You feel me? Yeah.
Better not be doing that on my couch. I know that, but
I'm telling.
Oh God. Okay, that's awesome. Des' response was women lie to impress men, men lie to keep. I can agree with that. But I think that's both. Because men will lie. Men men lie, about like we already said, some of the dumbest things. They'll say, hey, what do you do for work? Oh, I'm an independent contractor. Um, I'm self-employed, or saying, and I'm in between, I'm moving out of one spot, moving to another spot. Man, what happened is you got fired. Your girl dumped you, so you're moving out of her place back into your mama's house. Just say what you say. Just say what it is. That's what I read. That's what I read into it. But what I'm saying is, I mean, it is what it is. I like I said, I do agree with that, but I think that's in that sense, what you're saying there, Des, I think that's both. I think that's definitely both. Like it's funny because like I've had people come up to me, men and women, especially when I go to my appointments. I have I got a plethora of appointments that I have to go through because of my back, and I've been dealing with some other health issues, and the first thing they asked me is like, "Oh, are you employed?" I said, "No, I'm retired." And they were like, "Retired? You're 45 years old. What?" Yeah, I'm medically retired from the military. I get a military benefits check every month. And I really don't have to work unless I really want to. Right now, physically, it's becoming a challenge. So I'm going to school right now for cybersecurity and homeland security. So I'm just looking to do that so that way I can put myself in a better position so I can continue to work. Uh, I'm also not sitting around just being a deadbeat either. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sitting around, even though most of the time I'm not doing anything. Um, but what I'm saying is, I do anything because I'm having some issues physically. My back is jacked. My back is jacked. My shoulder. I just already had surgery on my right shoulder. By that, they're thinking about doing surgery on my left shoulder. They're still talking about doing surgery on my back. I'm telling you, man, I'm full around be the $6 million man, $6 billion man, bionic man, whatever it was. I'm about to be one of them cyborgs. That's why I feel like I'm gonna be a cyborg. Um, but yeah, I
Smith is a robot.
yeah,
Damn,
yeah,
hey
yeah.
man, that was my bad. That was the only black career I could think of, man. My bad.
Wow. Wow.
My bad, dog.
Wow. That's what we do now? Oh, this is what we do now? A miracle. A
My bad, dog.
miracle. Are you hearing this? On
My bad,
Facebook
dog.
fam, are you hearing this? What was that dude? What's the dude? What's his name? Crap. Is it Anthony Mackie that played in yeah. Well, he was in another movie called oh
Yeah.
god. That one he was like that. I don't know what he was, a robot, I guess, but he was a synthetic
8 Mile.
robot. Dude, this fool said 8 Mile.
When he gets never mind, I ain't even gonna say it. No, yeah, I don't know. I think I know what movie you're talking about.
Fool said
I
8
think I know what movie
Mile.
you're talking about.
Ain't nobody talking about John Coffey.
Hey, man.
Oh my
That's
lord.
Green Mile, dumbass. That's Green Mile, dumbass.
I was thinking about that, yeah.
God,
8 Mile.
man.
Yeah, he played what his name was, Clarence, right?
Yeah, Clarence.
Yeah,
He still lives with his parents. Yeah.
Went to private school. Okay. Yes, it is a black thing. Ace, it is a black thing. I understand that. And I accept it. Okay. I accept it because you know what I'm saying, I'm a very forgiving person. I've grown a lot. Usually mainly around my belly, but I have grown a lot over the years. But it is what it is. Hey man, it is what it is, brother. Hey, look, I don't want to take up too much more time. I think we need to do a part 2 of this because we're getting some great comments. I want to touch on a lot of the comments that we're getting. Plus, I want to give an opportunity that if you want to become part of the show, you can either join the Facebook Live portion of it, or you can actually join the Riverside portion of it by joining the studio audience link that I'll post each and every episode. So if you join the studio audience link, it'll direct you to the Riverside app, where you can go on there, download it. You don't have to. There's nothing you pay for. You just download it, or just, I think, upload it to your browser, and it'll take you into the actual show that we actually put on our YouTube channel, and I also post on our Spotify channel for the Birdman Show podcast. So I'll have the links for all of our social media in the description for the YouTube, as well as for the Facebook Live. So Sam, do you have any parting words for our audience?
Man, my bad, y'all. I'll do better next time.
The problem was you took a nap before the show. You weren't even.
Man, I was tired of the motherfucker.
Yeah, you were struggling there, my man. You were definitely struggling there. But the thing is, man, it is what it is, brother. Hey, that's what we're here for, man. You got my back, I got your back. You know what I'm saying? We are here to help each other out, my man. Like I said, all that I would say is Um, we got a message from Des, my granddaughter. I guess you can hear my voice and she's looking around for me. But the one thing I would say is, and like I said, we're gonna do a part 2 of this one. We'll come back and do another part 2 of this. But have those important conversations before you get in a relationship. Don't just jump in a relationship and not truly get to know that person. Uh, do have those conversations. Because I promise you, it'll save you a lot of headache in the long run. It really does. It saves you a lot of headache in the long run because if you're having honest, open conversations, you may actually pick up on some signs and say, hey, maybe this ain't gonna be, maybe this thing's gonna really work out. So
Mm.
all I'm saying is definitely try to have those. Do your due diligence. Okay, become the sleuth. All right, become the world's greatest detective. I'm Batman.
Parting wisdom.
Yeah. I will say this, Sam, make sure you don't close your browser out. Just stay in the studio as soon as we're done because if not, it's got to finish recording. But yeah, like I said, once again, thank everybody for joining us on Facebook Live, on Riverside, on our YouTube channel. It's been a blast, and until next time, and thank you for rocking and rolling with the Birdman. Do it with me.